Hi everybody, I'm just bringing you your daily update on SOL, BTC, and crypto market cap. We definitely got our dump from what I posted yesterday was that things were looking pretty bad across everything, and sure enough, it found its way to the cliff and took a jump. As far as what that's done to liquidity, I hate to say it, but I think BTC's probably still got some more downside that it's going to go capture. And things like SOL, they're starting to run out of some of the lower liquidity is just all gone. There's still some 30-day stuff all the way down to the 140s there, and by the time you get down to the 140s, there could be more. So there's some pretty scary looking targets on the charts at the moment, but I guess we'll just see how it plays out. As far as relative support, it's basically dived straight through the retest of the break level there and heading down to maybe find some support just here. But at the moment, there's not a lot that is actually supporting price or strength. It's just on a bit of a free fall really. As far as flight to safety, so our BTC dominance and stables dominance, that's bounced off the bottom of that range trend and it's found its way up through the top of that one. So that's also why you're starting to see a lot of weakness across anything that's risky. Some of our bigger time frame plays are nearly at their targets. So this is trying to make its way through the trend to 150. It's at the trend now, so it'll have a bit of a fight there, but chances are it'll lose that trend if it's anything else today is to go by. And some of these are starting to come into areas of support. So we have areas of support in the 150s. We've got them in the 140s too, and we've got them in the 130s, and we also had them in the 160s and 170s. But the thing is, they're just going for the liquidity. So it is a complete engineered dump. I haven't actually looked up to see what narrative is floating around out there because it doesn't really matter. I mean, the chart said it was going to go down, and they started shifting. When they started shifting these trends that were supportive on their downside, and they started with these long wicks and putting them up on top. That's kind of when stuff it's going to run into some kind of resistance and it's going to drop. But yeah, BTC's still got a ways to go, unfortunately. So those 110 targets are looking close. We might get there over the weekend. It's easier to engineer price on a weekend because you don't have to sell as much of the asset to actually drive it down. There's less liquidity in the books, etc. Same thing over here. It's just finding its way through trend. Same thing, retracing. So pretty much all of our overextended price points are all just starting to retrace. And SOL's lost its 2-day. It's gone through its break level. So see, the next if this doesn't actually recover that, which it can do, sometimes the next candle opens and just pulls back up. But if this doesn't recover that, then you're looking at targets down here in the 140s. That would be heading off to try to find some support. 152. Kind of at that break level now, the 160 area. So it's trying to find support there. If it does, great. If it doesn't, it's down here into the 150s. So SOL does have the option here of bouncing on the weekly hold or the monthly. It's actually there'll be another chart soon, but it's actually on, I think, just bouncing on a weekly trend at the moment. But these are pretty big levels of support. They're usually respected, even in the most fuddy times or the times when they're really just trying to flush out all the longs. So hopefully we get a bit of respect and support from these, and then they get us back up. And it's coming down there to retest the backside of the range trend through there, trend support. So as you can see, there is a lot of stuff that could support the price in that area, once we get down to 150s, 140s. That's our 1 day, which is looking pretty horrible. So it's hanging off a cliff. It could find support on things like the backside retests, areas like this, and that 153, which has a lot of confluence. Same way as this backside here supported that price. This one's never actually had to do anything. It's been sitting here untested, and untested backside levels are generally visited. So just more confluence that we're probably going to see 150s at some point, especially with BTC still looking like it needs to move down a bit. And there's our monthly, which was going to be really good. We were up here, we were over that trend, and then in the last day of the month, they turned on the sell pressure taps to bring it down under that. So that's now resistance, that's not support. So another reason why we're probably heading back to this monthly area at a minimum. It's just a duplicate of the 1 day, which is yen falling off a cliff. Nothing like candles hanging over the edges. Yep. Minimum retracement's still really not done. So that's our 1 day for BTC. So after we lost this range up here, it's come down here and it's found the trend, which is effectively what's holding it up now. This might follow through until tomorrow, so it's quite possible that this trend might act as support temporarily. The thing is, if the candle closes right on the trend and the next one opens on the other side, it'll probably just reject off the back and go down, like what you're seeing here. So you have the first candle will position itself under the trend. The next one will flip it and use it as resistance to reject down. So a good idea today would probably be to watch to see how this closes in proximity to trend. If it closes on with the ability to open the body on the other side of the trend and it wicks up, then yeah, you're just going to get more downside. It's probably going to be a pretty dirty weekend in that instance. If it closes up above it, you might see a little relief pump. It probably won't last forever. It might retest the backside of one of these lost ranges up here and then just dump. So it probably depends whether they want to trap more longs, and also whether they want to give the longs that are in currently the opportunity to get out, because once they're trapped and they're in drawdown, they're less likely to close. But if it went back into profits, they might close, and that takes away some of that liquidity that they're trying to grab. So yeah, same 110 targets. And as you can see, this is all very much replicated on the total market cap. They pulled it down at the end of the month to close underneath, and then that's now resistance. So we're probably heading down here at a minimum. Like that, they're just giving it temporary support, so it can bounce down that, or it can come through it, reject off the backside, and continue to come down. These are the little things that basically allow price to sort of sit and hover for a bit until it finds a way to either use it as support or fall through it. Yeah, textbook rejection up there. So you had this uptrend coming through here. The candle got positioned on the other side of it, went up, hit the resistance. Now, if it hits the horizontal resistance and it no longer has the trend, then it's going to fall. And then the next candle is made in such a way that this opens on the underside of it, continues to fall. That's the kind of thing. So like in 3 days' time, when this candle goes to close, the proximity or the length of the wick and how far away it is to whatever trend it creates effectively gives you an idea about whether it's going to bounce or whether it's just going to break and keep going down. gosh, oh, there it is. That's the weekly. So SOL's found the weekly trend down here, which we were like that. And then what happened was we closed this week with this really long wick on the top of it. It was a break of trend, but it shifted the trend to be resistance rather than being a supportive trend break. Continued down. So if this bounces, it's pretty unlikely it'll ever get past these levels up here. So normally a trend would travel to a hold level or a trend. There aren't really any hold levels for it to go to. So it'll probably, if it does bounce, which kind of goes against letting longs out of their traps, but it does fall into the possible thesis of weekend bounce and drawing in more longs. But yeah, if it gets up to here, definitely be taking profits on that, because the expectation is that it would actually come back down to that weekly level down in here. Oh, sorry, that's a monthly. No wonder that chart looks a little bit funny. There you go. It's the weekly. So the weekly trend shifted from we were there, and we shifted to there, and have that monthly level back there somewhere. But yeah, expectation of this is it'll probably come up. Maximum it could get to really is there, and then it would probably end up coming back down to here anyway, which would make for a really nice weekend trap setup if they did want to play the typical game. But certainly this has not been a very typical dump. It's been a pretty savage dump. So but yeah, that's the update for today. I would probably suggest just steering clear of trades, or you could potentially look at buying spot at the 160 levels or really low leverage, and then in the 150s, 140s, 130s, 120s if it goes that far, because we have got the whole weekend, and it's a lot of people in crypto have got quite short memories, but we've seen this kind of thing before, and this may be where we bounce. It may not. I've got a swing position, which I'm just going to keep adding to at the right levels. I'll TP into resistance with each portion I add, so effectively keeping the size of the trade as its original size. It'll get slightly bigger, and then it will come down and get smaller, and then it'll get bigger and it'll get smaller. And then once we really start to see a decent trend reversal on a good time frame, a 4 hour or a daily or something like that, then start to add to it, and then we probably will be heading off to our final high, because this is really that dump that usually comes before you head off to a new level. So although it's horrifically bearish now, that's mostly because they don't want you to see what comes next. So hopefully we get through this and then move off to some bigger, brighter target. All good. Have a good day, and yeah, subscribe and hit the like button, and hopefully you got something out of this.